Hi, Perfume Nation. We are in for a treat with the global fragrance and flavors news recap. We will talk about who got to grace the Fragrance Foundation Awards of 2024. We will talk about the child labor in our favorite perfumes. We'll talk about what's happening with the notes of the year. Are any notable new releases that align with the major themes outlined for 2024 in terms of the smells and the scent profiles. We'll talk about Fendi finally being ready to make its coin in the big way. We'll talk about the fragrance trends as they've been presented to us by marketing agencies, from the clean girl fragrances to fragrance gatekeeping and mob wife fragrances. So yeah, buckle up, get ready, get your fingers ready to give a like and subscribe while we're gonna play the Perfume Nation anthem. I'm gonna get ready with my notes, and once we given our likes, said hi in the comments, we're about to embark on this epic, dramatic journey.
Welcome to the show, grab a seat, take it slow. You tune just in time to join the flow. Welcome to the hype, where scents come alive, where knowledge and laughter find side by side. Perfume Nation is the place where we dive, exploring the scents and the stories they drive. We're glad that you came, just jump in the game, where we unveil secrets behind fragrance's fame. Welcome to Perfume Nation, we're glad you are here. Join our journey, lend us your ear. So let's start the show, give us a cheer. Welcome to Perfume Nation, we're glad you are here.
First and foremost, I stopped by a Cartier boutique that shall not be named, you'll see why, to finally sample Pour La La by Cartier, their release of the year, one of the major releases that they do maybe like once a year or even less often in their high perfumery line. And guess what it is? Lilacs, the note of the year. And so far, it's been a challenge to find a sample. So I was traveling for a conference. I was thinking, why don't I pay them a visit, chat, maybe get a sample or two and like just kind of introduce myself, yada, yada, yada. Well, that story unraveled in a rather unexpected way. I came to the boutique. It was a large shopping mall. And I actually, right at the beginning, I did notice that the boutique was empty. There were probably like 10 people attending to it, and yet maybe like one person who was visiting. And there was a lively group of shopping mall guards that were kind of hanging right there. I guess like they were just making their rounds and like stopped by to chat. And there was one really bombastic, funny woman among that guard group who was kind of like trying to like elbow her way in with a Cartier gatekeeper, the woman who was standing there at the beginning greeting the non-existent guests. So when I approached, I was kind of casually dressed. I was in between errands, between running to the gym and the next session and the conference. And somehow I felt like the person at the entrance did not believe me when I introduced myself as a perfume reviewer, as a perfume fragrance reviewer and a critic. Then I have my podcast, and I'm preparing this review for the lilac. It was a really silent scene of refined condescension and judgment that glorious woman, we'll call her Charlene, gave me by just pure silence, just kind of slowly sizing me up and down. And it went sort of like this. And all of that was accompanied by very generous commentary from that bombastic shopping mall guard who was kind of trying to like become buddies with Charlene. So I come over, I say like, hi, my name is Maria. I am a fragrance reviewer. I know that Cartier released in the boutique line a new perfume. I would like to try it. Charlene went more or less like, do you have an appointment? I was like, oh, no, but it's an open boutique. I can see that you have fragrances there. I just wanted to stop by, try some, and so I can prepare for a better review. And I know that it's mostly sold online. It's kind of hard to find elsewhere. So I thought maybe you have it in the Cartier boutique. And as I'm like, over explaining myself, trying to be nice, she's still keeping me at the entrance. It's like, so you don't have an appointment? I was like, no, I do not. I do not have an appointment. Mm-hmm. Please wait here. She leaves. Then she brings me another Cartier consultant. It's like, so-and-so, Jose, will show you around. Jose doesn't know a thing about fragrances, but he's very polite and very patient. And I feel like I'm being escorted around like a convicted felon. And they're like just looking so I just don't like snatch a pen from a table or something. After talking with, we'll call him Jose, about the fragrances for probably 10 minutes and realizing that I am teaching him more about Cartier fragrances that he can tell me about, I just like, all right, man, I see that you guys are busy. It's empty. I'm here for the Pour La Las sample. Do you have any? He didn't even know they had that fragrance. He went in the back, he talked to someone. It's like it was a whole ordeal to get me a free sample. It's like, we actually don't have them, but we'll get them soon. I was like, okay, well, do you have like this and this from your line? And he managed with great difficulty to source me one. I got one. Look how small this. One sample, which is L'Heure de Femme, the floral. Well, let's sample it while we're here. A clean, beautiful kind of this peony rose floral. Very pleasant, somewhat soapy. It's the typical fresh floral that's something you would expect from Cartier to be done really eloquently, really well. But the whole experience was bewildering to me. And again, reminded me why I love with passion going to any name boutiques without like a support system or entourage. But this was not even the funniest part. The funniest part about the whole thing was, what should we'll call her Trish. The shopping mall guard Trish. While all of that mostly monologue on my part, trying to be nice and explain what I'm here for, and very judgmental, polite, coldly smiling Charlene, Trish just could not help but provide her own version of what was going on. So imagine the same dialogue, but now I hear on the background Trish is kind of like trying to help Charlene. I'm like, I don't know about this one. Like, what? Pour La Las my ass. Who are you? You even have she doesn't even have an appointment. Like, those broke ass bitches coming here fishing for free samples. Charlene, influencer. Look my butt, you are. Charlene. Oh, my bad. Charlene. Charlene, oh, I don't know how you deal with that. That's foolishness. That's what it is. It was so good that I wish somebody filmed it. I just wish there was like an invisible camera crew that just get all of these characters, including me, utterly confused. Why is such a problem for me to step in and sample Cartier fragrances? It was precious and will forever shape my memories. Moving on. Well, after that, I went to a nearby Frederic Malle boutique and had a blast. The guy there was a very beautiful young artist who also worked in Frederic Malle part-time. I don't know, maybe he was there full-time, but he's also into visual arts. His name is Devin. He gave me all of the samples. He gave me the acne, so yeah. The next video probably is gonna be about Frederic Malle, because we had so much fun. We sampled so many things. I told him about the comparisons and the things that I hear on the grapevine about this and this and that. We shared gossip, and Devin even somehow squeezed in his personal phone number on that's so cute, on the business card. So yeah, I had like the best time in Frederic Malle. Go figure. And here comes a question for you guys. Do you go to the namesake boutiques of various perfume labels and designer houses? Do you have a good time? Do you enjoy that more, less, the same as sampling online? I'm just curious about your experiences. I wonder if it's just something about me that rubs the representatives the wrong way, but what happened at Cartier was not an isolated experience, and I just wonder, what's the future of hard luxury? How do you see that? I am still conflicted on the point that hard luxury, in my view, has to. I just don't see how it cannot. Has to be a human lived experience. Therefore, at least part of it, I think, has to happen in real life. But when it's, to put it politely, that kind of game of scarcity, it's just, I don't know, in the modern, in the contemporary world, that rubs me the wrong way. I think that's a bit, I don't know, maybe it works on a certain demographic. Like for me, it was off-putting when, even with the polite smiles and yada yada, when brands create this feeling that you have to like dance monkey dance to just be walking near our displays, that's just really off-putting to me. I never liked it. I would never even wait more than 20 minutes for brunch, no matter how fancy a brunch restaurant is in like downtown Manhattan or in San Francisco. It's just bizarre to me. Like my time and my experience and, you know, the way I feel as I go through the experience is more important to me than nearly any product, physical or experiential. What about you though? Do you go to the boutiques? What kind of time do you have there? Do you befriend the sale associates? Do you guys kind of become buddies? Do you exchange tips, or do you like keep it to yourself and just ask for a long time so you can sample kind of in solitude? Tell me, spill the tea, tell me your stories. I can't wait to hear them. I'm still sourcing a few other lilacs that I haven't sampled and talked about yet. If you have any recommendations, now is the best time to share them in the comments down below or send me a DM on Instagram, perfume.nation.podcast. So far, as Trisha so well put it, pour l'alas my ass. We'll have to wait for the installment number 3, because I think I sampled the creme de la creme so far. So those 2 reviews cover probably the largest ground when it comes to lilacs. Those are probably the largest, to my knowledge, the largest fragrance reviews on the lilacs. including a discussion we had with Sam Macer, who is a perfumer, on what actually makes a lilac accord. Those are probably the most comprehensive information you'll ever find to date on the subject of lilac perfumes. But I am gonna do due diligence and dig out more. So if you have any recommendations, post them down below. I am working on it to complete this chapter of our fragrant alchemic story. Now to the other note of the year, which is unusual incense. I got my Scentbird next subscription box from Scentbird. This time all came in one piece, nothing broke, everything was fine. Still not a big fan of their new bottles, but they're fine. The incense that I sampled is from Rag & Bone. That's a well-established line that they have of fragrances. I haven't heard much praise or criticism of Rag & Bone fragrances. I'm curious if you've sampled any. What do you think about them? I got myself 3. We'll talk about it in the next video of the indulgences of the season, where I'll show you everything that I purchased, hauling new perfumes. But incense, simply called incense, Rag & Bone, stole my heart from the first spray. That was one of those romantic crushes. Like, I saw it across the room. It's beautiful, and it's this beautiful, poetic, floral, flirty, but incensey enough that it seems unusual. But it's not a Catholic type of incense. It's not churchy in a way. I have a lot of respect and love for churchy type of incense, but that's more of a classical genre, and I'm really looking for an unusual take. For example, the most unusual colognes or kind of waters, fresh fragrances that contain incense, in my view, are the ones that contain incense are Serge Lutens waters. This is the first floral incense that I just can't have enough of. So I am already probably 3 ml down, and we'll see what I say in the last drops. That's kind of the series of videos where I do final fragrance reviews and report to you what I loved, what I fell out of love with, do comparisons of fragrances, tell you if I actually voted with my money and got a full-size bottle. We'll have to wait till the last drops to see if I continue to be as madly in love with it as I am now, but I can't have enough of Incense by Rag & Bone. It kind of, in its overall feel, reminds me of Fleur de Lalita by Dusita. That one is kind of this flirtatious, easy to wear lily scent that is not too much of a lily, but lily is there. This is the same thing. Incense does not play a central role here, at least not to my nose, but it's so beautifully and interestingly weaved in the floral notes. So good for June, especially in Florida. If you guys have recommendations on an unusual take on incense for the installment of the review of the note of the year, that's probably, I think I will try to prepare something for you by July, maybe September, depending how many fragrances I source to do a full festival of unusual incenses. But if you want to send a sample for the review, if you want to share a decant from your collection, or if you have a recommendation, please leave a comment below. The time is now. To the child labor expose that was the BBC documentary on sourcing perfume ingredients. I think at this point, every major player, in terms of the big four, the big chemical companies that make perfume ingredients and compose perfumes for a lot of brands, most of the brands just white label something that the big four, or let's expand it, big 10 flavor companies are making for them. And those companies has a substantial staff of perfumers and chemists. So they all, by now, I don't think there's a single large chemical company that hasn't adopted the green chemistry and more like humane sourcing protocols. So child labor is outlawed in majority of the cases, and yet the documentary shows a case study. They don't show any statistical numbers, but they do show a case study that due to the continued automation and downscaling of logistics and operations along the logistics chain of perfume making, the pay is less and less for those people who work in the fields and actually acquire the raw materials that are to be used to make essential oils, to make any kind of substances that are used later for creating flavors and perfumes. So the pay is going down. Due to the climate change, some of the work is just shifting to other areas, geographical areas, because it's too hot or too wet or this or that. And what was the most concerning is that they showed a family where, in order to make ends meet, the children in the family had to get up at some ungodly hour and work through the night. Because due to the kind of the rules of botany, so to speak, the flowers and the essential oils in them are the most potent in the beginning of kind of at the dawn of any day, including that's how like rose oil is best produced. So the gathering of natural materials usually happens in really unusual, very uncomfortable hours of labor, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m., more or less. And the fact that kids have to do it not only is illegal, but heartbreaking. What was not surprising, but interesting to me, I always want to see how the PR departments of all of the big companies who routinely maintain and do damage control for, and put out fires, PR fires, how would they react? There are pretty much not that many scenarios. Like there are 101 kind of textbook reactions as those departments follow. It's full denial, via usually some kind of willful negligence inside. So they don't ask too many questions of their supply chain, and therefore they have a plausible deniability. And second favorite is they will do kind of an orgy of concern. Oh, we did not know. We're so worried. We're so concerned. We're so with you. And then they'll form some kind of an internal committee who is supposed to meet once a month, and that's their solution. That's exactly what happened. It never ceases to amaze me. The solution is never pay more to the workers. No, we're gonna allocate a budget and spend it on paying our execs more money so they can have one more meeting once a month for like 6 months, and then we will post a bulletin or a bunch of colorful slides when we express the concerns about child labor. We'll talk about, give lip service to the vision of the future and offer our firm commitment to solve the issue. And that just keeps going, no matter the industry, by the way. It never ceases to amaze me that forming committees that will discuss issues and produce slides or raise awareness is somehow still a sellable PR tactic. What about we went and we gave a grant of $20,000 for the family in question. We went to the local government and created created grants for educating or I don't know, creating jobs, improving the quality of the work, making sure that maybe in some other ways the basic roof, shelter, food needs were met in the communities where the companies operate by themselves or through intermediaries. That's never, ever, ever the solution. No, we're going to form yet another committee that we're going to dissolve in a year after producing a bunch of colorful vision slides. Disappointing. Very disappointing. Next 6 hours are going to be devoted to the new fragrance releases. I'm just kidding. Last year, as was very kindly counted for us by marketing agencies, there were on average 65 to 70 new fragrances that we would have to review a week because there were that many releases on average. So if I'm gonna really even attempt to go through all of the new releases, we'll be here forever. And to be honest, I don't find it really necessary. I do value freedom and space in our collective minds in order to pick and choose whatever if you're following specific brands or you're following specific notes like I'm doing, following very few themes, the top notes of the year as outlined. I actually have a whole video about that if you're curious, and a few brands that I'm tactically sampling in order to get more familiar with them. So I am only going to talk about one because that truly piqued my interest, and that is the Fendi release of their new premium boutique oud fragrance line. I have been waiting for Fendi to do something for a long time. I had this subjective feel that the house is dying. But similar to Trussardi, when they released their dogs, I fell in love with the fragrances and with the packaging. It was unique. The fragrances were punchy. They were very Italian. They were very Trussardi. I thought all in all it was a great release. The only missing part for me was the distribution and marketing on, via the influencers and social media. The kind of people were discovering Trussardi haute parfum line on their own through gray markets mainly. Let's call it spade a spade. There was not much of a distribution happening via official channels, so that was confusing. We'll see how it's going to work out for Fendi. I am still a bit lost. Maybe I just don't have enough of insider knowledge what really happened, because Fendi had such a prime ownership of the most lucrative part of the fashion market, which is accessories, bags and accessories. They absolutely owned it in early 2000s, 2010s, and I feel like they lost the spot under the sun. And similarly with their fragrances, let's review some of the best ones. Fendi Theorema, still like a hunted after vintage. So many people defined their mothers, or what luxury fragrance is by Fendi Theorema. Same with Fendi Pie. I loved it, even though it's marketed toward men, but Pie was such a beautiful, this cinnamony, soft, spicy, very rare concoction that was clearly marketed toward men, and clearly girls would steal it all the time because it was a gourmand. Back when it was a soft, spicy, kind of kitchen baked spices gourmand. Still love it. Also Furiosa, one of the rare cases where yellow florals are compliment getting, easy to wear, easy to understand, and yet not so usual. I haven't really smelled anything like Furiosa in the recent years. And yet it's so simple and easy to enjoy. And the packaging is bomb. Furiosa just really wins it with the packaging. I hope you can see it. Very high quality packaging. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So the fact that they waited that long to issue their haute parfum line is a bit bewildering to me. At this point, every single house has did a cash grab with $200-$300 bottles. So I am curious, have you had a chance to try the line by Fendi? Like, honoring the luxurious, flamboyant, very enjoyable fragrances that they used to make, and they were best sellers for a long time back then. I want to give them a chance if I get an opportunity to sample them. That previous story comes to mind. Who knows? If you guys have any samples to share, or you're affiliated with a brand or a marketing agency, please let me know, because otherwise, as Trisha put it, pour la ass my ass. It might not happen. We'll see. Still love Curiosity, like beautiful, glamorous, summery yellow floral. So good. I can only hope that their Haute Parfum line kind of holds the same standard. I hoped for a slightly more Italian nouvelle-riche packaging, because that's what Fendi is known for. I was hoping for a little bit more of a pizzazz in the packaging of the scents. As I'm looking at the bottles, they're kind of a bit too simplistic to their DNA, in my view. But maybe what's inside is truly the extravaganza, is truly the party. That only time will show. Next, we gotta talk about the Fragrance Awards, right? The Fragrance Foundation hosted its annual Fragrance Awards, and now we know the results of it. It's a very well-esteemed organization with good connections, and I would say it's a respectable social media following on their Instagram, and yet I was kind of flabbergasted to see their red carpet lineup. Some of the people were thoroughly expected, but sometimes I feel like some of these niche industry awards are like family picnics. It's like, invite you and your nephew. Like some people who were there made perfect sense. Vera Wang, some of the designers who are pushing their lines, some of the editors, some of the influencers in the space. But even though the influencers that were not there, that was like a resounding silence to me. I was very confused. Some of the people have maybe like 1,000 followers on any of their social media, produce no real content ever. Even the beloved Tiff Benson, who was the only person who was kind of universally globally recognized in their influencer lineup. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I only looked at their own coverage on social media, which is worth another point of discussion. Like, I looked at their coverage of their own event, and out of influencers, global influencers, I only recognized Tiff Benson, and Tiff hasn't really created content in years. Ever since she got with the Sephora squad and kind of brushed her shoulders with the marketing agencies, I don't really see her putting in the work to connect with real people. I know that Demi Rowing is heavily investing in her app, which I completely understand. It's thematic, it fits into her brand. It's all good, but like the people who were not there, that like raised a lot of questions to me. And some people who were, like, I'm glad they're having a good time, but it looks like a family picnic to me, or like a extended family reunion rather than an industry event. I was very confused about the guest list. I was like, I can't say anything about this. It's just, I don't know. Like, seeing Nina Garcia, I love her from her previous work on TV and stuff, but is she really a fragrance influencer? Kind of bizarre. And also the social media coverage was abysmal. It was just abysmal. I didn't see anybody post any vlogs from it. And I follow a fairly large number of influencers and podcasts in this space. no coverage whatsoever. I think Essence, which is more of like a consumer event where it's just like a huge expose of all of the fragrance releases that are happening, and they kind of try to mix it as a fragrance con with the industry event where distributors can look at the fragrance samples and and pick up a few brands here and there to put on shelves in their stores of their chains of stores, plus the influencers, plus just people who love perfume or are there to meet their favorite perfume reviewers. Essence also could do a better job doing coverage, because these events are not cheap. I mean, I know that much. It's a lot of work, a lot of money to put these things together. So it is a bit of it's confusing to me that they are not harvesting the power and the goodwill of fragrance reviewers on various platforms in order to bring this forefront. I mean, if Fragrance Foundation aims to keep it as a family picnic kind of event, sure, but then look at the nominations: customer choice, consumer choice. First of all, I don't like the word consumer. Let's stop calling people consumers. I think it's just generally rude. But the nominations are bizarre to me. The winners are bizarre to me. None of that really reflects what's been happening in the forums or the discussion blogs. It's just all in all a toss. However, we gotta outline it there. I wasn't there. I am purely basing my opinions on the coverage that the company itself put out there. So, who knows? Maybe it was a much more fruitful and interesting event. Maybe there was much more logic and thought and data behind these nominations and these wins. We will never know. I'm curious what you guys think about it. Do you follow the Fragrance Foundation Awards? Do you follow any other awards that happen in the world of perfumery? Again, as much as I hate the Fragrantica redesign, which just completely ruined the user experience on the website, I find that Fragrantica is, to this date, still is the people's magazine of the fragrance world. That's where you find the best forum discussions. That's where you find a great variety of author articles. That's where that's the largest database with the kind of the people commentary attached, which I personally find very useful. No matter if I agree with the opinions of people or not, but you get a snippet, you at least get some kind of a color to what's going on with any particular line, brand, or any particular release. So when it comes to Essence, Fragrance Foundation Awards, there are many others, some more niche, some more known. I'm still looking for that kind of fit factor, and I'm not finding it yet. And I'm curious, what's your opinion? Where do you think the future of professional and kind of global, the perfume cons, where is it gonna be? What is it gonna be like? Because I think there's nothing more beautiful than getting all people together and joining them for several days in some kind of huge expo where they meet like-minded people, when they meet, collaborate, make pictures, sample a few things. It's expensive, it's exhausting, it's very thrashy type of event to put together. But it's surely where friendships, business deals, and futures of fragrance brands are made. And so many wonderful, wonderful connections and friendships. I can say from my own experience, every time when I went to a well put together industry event, be it scientific, be it tech, be it leadership or business or video creators that comes to mind recently, or biohacking. This is my latest trip to Austin. That's what it was focused on. It's expensive. It takes a lot out of you, but they're the greatest memories and the greatest people that you meet there. So I want them to succeed, but I am kind of at loss of the composition of people, fragrances, all of it is just a shrug for me personally. Let's now do a mid-year checkpoint on the fragrance trends. These are hard to come by, let me tell you, in terms of having something specific and nuanced / data backed enough. Most of the time you get kind of a palette of all colors of the rainbow. This is a trend and that's the trend and the opposite is a trend and the thing on the side is a trend. Everything is a trend, and you read those articles and you know kind of come out of it none the wiser. So just to give you a taste, this is another report. I consumed a few of them, and the interesting parts that I picked here and there are kind of confirmed some of my biases already. First and foremost, the premiumization of fragrances, and in layman terms, just slapping and exorbitant, it's just like extremely high price tag on a random perfume line continues to be a trend. So us as people who vote with our money, be aware. Prices are becoming, it's like a huge bubble. It's a huge bubble on pricing fragrances. I don't know when it's gonna blow up, but my prediction in the video where I call the prophecies with the future fragrance industry, I think within a year or two it must burst. Potentially with the next large economic shift, because it's a luxury industry. It's always is the most volatile in any change of global economic circumstances. So yeah, the racketeering when it comes to prices is continuing. Exponential explosion of brands is continuing. The dupe trend, they pretty much are confirming things that we knew were happening a year ago. So I kept looking for those nuggets of news, like what's actually a new trend for 2024. And I managed, through consumption of many articles and blogs of this sort, I managed to squeeze out a few for you to share. First one is fragrance gatekeeping. We went through many phases and waves of celebrity fragrances, and I think we're into another kind of a spiral, another loop of people becoming tired with everybody smelling of Aventus Creed or Baccarat Rouge, and people it's called fragrance gatekeeping. It is when people do not share what's their favorite fragrance. If they do have a signature fragrance, they keep it as private as, the name of their first crush. I'm finding this is a bit of a oscillation all the way back. So first we spend $500 on a random perfume we don't even know if we like. We just buy it because everybody else splurges on it, and it's the expensive or sexy or money fragrance. And everybody in the subway, in the bus, in the bus stop or anywhere smells of it. And we go all the way back tell no one, including celebrities who are refusing to share. So it's becoming a little bit of a trend. It's a personal thing. Don't ask me. I'm sorry. I'm not going to share what fragrance I'm wearing. I feel like it's too far in the opposite direction. It's fine. And I think it's a noble deed to share what you're wearing. Most people have more than one, right? And if you're that concerned, if you're that big of a celebrity and that concerned that within a month everyone around you in your actual physical reality will be smelling the same as you are, I mean, what are the odds of that? Even if you're a big celebrity like Kim Kardashian, not really. It's not going to happen. Yeah, maybe a few million people will buy that perfume, but you're not going to meet them in person. First of all. Second of all, you can share it when you're phasing it out, right? Because there are seasons for us when it comes to smells. And if you want to scent anchor and actually go through life having specific smells, as they are very closely connected to our limbic system and hippocampus, so smells are the most memory forming scent of all of them, you can, at the end of summer, share your favorite summer fragrance and move on to the next one that's going to be your fall fragrance, and only share it at the end of fall. Like, it's fine. It's fine to share something when you're kind of phasing it out already. You enjoyed it, you loved it. It's a great creation that's worth sharing. And the brand that invested their time and money into it, and the perfumer who spent years crafting that formula, they should, it's fine for them to make a coin off of your recommendation. I don't see any problem with that. I don't think anybody will lose their identity by sharing the name of their fragrance. So I'm not a big fan of either all of us buying the same thing or making it this like top secret, and you'll be like an identity theft qualifying question when people ask what fragrance you're wearing. I'm seeing it now more and more. I do see it among people, especially teenagers, because like they like trends. They it's always like a flash mob kind of mentality, which is fun in many ways. It's not my thing. Like, I'll share. That's not a problem. Because I like things that are unique, that are rare, I have so many that it's not a problem. If you buy the fragrance that I'm wearing today, it's not gonna even make a dent in my identity. It's not even close. I wonder what you guys think. Do you follow fragrance gatekeeping philosophy? Do you buy popular scents? Where are you on that kind of spectrum? Just curious. I don't think we're missing anything here. Edible perfumes is a trend. It's just to say that eating is a trend. Like, everybody likes vanilla perfumes. It's not a trend because it's effervescent. Same with smelling sexy or expensive. It forever was a thing and forever will be. All right, we're done with trends. That not much that is I could squeeze out of marketing reports. As soon as I hear more, officially or unofficially, I'll let you know in the next Perfume Nation episode. I think we're gonna cap it there with the news. There's infinitely more information and topics that we could have discussed. So if there's any follow-ups that you think are needed, if you feel like in our space some topics or news are not getting a proper attention and you wish we delved into something deeper or talked about things that are really important to you, and I think it will be important for other people to know, please leave a comment below. Let me know. I am actively sourcing ways to be more interactive, for us to feel like it's our space to form our community and to really talk to each other, have a dialogue. So I really welcome any suggestions, any speakers or guests that you think would be really valuable to bring to the podcast. I'm spreading my wings. The Fragrance Nation podcast is gonna host a number of, some of them are beloved and really well known people in the fragrance world to you. So get excited and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss those interviews. Some of them will be new and very insightful experts that I think deserve the limelight, and I will do my utmost best to honor them and give them opportunity to speak their mind and share the insights from their experience and expertise in the fragrance and flavors world. There will be probably some brands that may come on board and share their vision and gonna give us behind the scenes look into what it really takes to create a brand in the already very overcrowded space and to kind of go from 0 to 1. And I think actually Sam Meister's interview is worth a second look, because not only we did a lot of myth busting together, we also talked about a variety of randomly discussed aspects of what makes a perfume great, what perfume making is really all about, and what you can and cannot do in your own personal subjective experience of sampling and wearing perfumes. So if you haven't watched that episode yet, please check it out. It's Perfume Myth Busting with Sam Macer, who has his own YouTube channel. All the links are down below in that episode, and I'll leave a link to it here as well. So with that, I'll give you time to stretch your fingers. And while you're listening to the outro song, give this episode a like. Take a little bit of time to think, feel through, share your feedback. I'll be so impatiently waiting for your comments till the next time we meet at Perfume Nation Podcast. See you then.
Hey there, you've reached the end, but don't just depart. Hit like, subscribe, it's a way to take part. Your support, your love, it's an art. Together we grow, play our part in this job. It's more than a click, it's a bridge, a connection, no way to sustain. To fuel this direction, each light, each sub, a show perfection. We're in this together, seeking perfection. Like and subscribe, be the vibe, keep us alive. In this digital sea, it's how we fly. Your support is the core, the drive. In this world of content, we're the prototype. Donations, contributions to keep the lights on. Fueling our passion from dusk till dawn. It's not just content, it's a bond that's drawn with your head.